Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of 25 Days, 25 Gripes, in which we look at annoying-ass people and their annoying-ass habits. I'm your host, Mr. P, and today's subject is people who play the lottery and think that their shitty 9-to-5 jobs will change just because they selected a few random lucky numbers. Now, this could probably cover people who gamble in general, but I felt the lottery was the most appropriate just by virtue of having the Powerball shoved in our faces at any gas station you go to. A casino or sports betting app, you'd pretty much have to go out of your way to look at. But there's nothing stopping you from playing the Pennsylvania lottery when all you originally intended to do was to just go get gas. And growing up, I always was interested listening to those addiction help commercials because right after drugs and alcohol is where gambling would normally fit right in. And at the time, I always thought it was extreme to mix gambling with drugs and alcohol, but I totally get it now. People who are clean from drugs and alcohol are still totally susceptible to gambling and justify it as their vice because, hey, at least I'm not doing crack mixed with fentanyl. But meanwhile, most hotels in Las Vegas do not have balconies on them, in part to discourage people from jumping after they lose all their money. And I'm not bullshitting you, that's a fact. The only time I'll wager my money is to play fantasy football, which, shout out to my team, by the way, the great Bamginos, for being on the fast track to win today's playoff game and advance to next week's Final Four. Don't ask me how my team is doing next week, though, after this matchup, because by this point next week, I imagine I'll be sobbing in the shower asking for a do-over, but I digress. The reason I do enjoy fantasy football, aside from being a general football fan, is that you semi-control your own destiny and winnings by drafting and making free agent pickups throughout the season and just keeping up to date with things that are happening. You're not totally in control because of injuries and all that shit, but enough to fill the void. As opposed to the people who play the day-to-day lotteries. I had somebody bust my balls one time because I told him I won my fantasy match that week, and he said, "You know, you're not in control, right? The games are already fixed." Lo and behold, later that day, the same person, it wasn't until I heard the phrase, "Can I get 5 plays on the Powerball?" that had me ask, how is this any different? And if you want to argue about being rigged, there's people who have won the lottery twice. You cannot tell me that the lottery is not fixed to some degree. And it's fine if we're all out here just throwing our money at random shit, but number one, don't judge me for doing something that in my mind, I can control, where you're doing the same exact thing that you can't control. And then number two, with the lottery, do not piss on my shoe and tell me that it's raining by telling me that it's not rigged. And if you think fantasy football is bad, try following the DraftKings and the FanDuels and all that shit. I actually had somebody explain to me one time the concept of parlaying and DraftKings, and he said, yeah, I placed $30 on this game, but if so-and-so gets a first down, and if this guy gets a pick six, and if that guy does a handstand before going to fuck somebody in the crowd, then I get all my money back. Brother, you're a fucking sucker who just wants to give away all your money. If you're that risky with your return on investment, why don't you just go pay to watch high school football and hope that it isn't a colossal shitty experience? What about you guys? Do you play the lottery? How about fantasy football or DraftKings or FanDuel? Do you have a hypothetical list of all the people you'll take care of when you win the lottery that'll never actually happen? Hope you guys enjoyed listening to me shit on compulsive gamblers. Tomorrow we're tackling a universal subject. Family. And the amount of bullshit that they'll pull on you under the guise of being blood. That's just what we do here. Thank you all for listening, and as always, if you're enjoying what I'm spewing, please like and subscribe.